You probably know the story of Invincible, right? Teenager gets incredible powers from his alien dad. But what if that was only like half the story? Today we're looking at a completely different legacy, one built from the ashes of not just one, but two extinct civilizations.
So this is the question that changes absolutely everything. What happens when you mash up the DNA of a Viltrumite, the universe's most brutal warrior race, with a Kryptonian, who's basically a walking solar reactor? Well, you get a hybrid being that is something else, something brand new, and honestly, kind of terrifying.
All right, so you can just forget that classic dad teaching me how to fly moment. This whole transformation kicks off in the most normal place you could imagine, and a single event just completely shatters Mark's world. Get this. Mark's just working his shift at Burger Mart. He goes to lift a trash bag, and it just doesn't stop. It launches straight into orbit. But this isn't some happy, woo, I have powers moment. No, it's immediately followed by this crushing wave of pain as his brain is just flooded with memories that aren't his. Crystal towers under a red sun, and the ghost of a civilization he somehow knows is called Krypton. So what's going on here? Well, it all comes down to this thing called the Codex. It's basically the entire genetic library of Krypton, and it got fused to Mark's soul when he was reincarnated in this universe. For 17 years, it just sat there, totally dormant. But the second his Viltrumite genes switched on, it lit the fuse on his Kryptonian heritage at the exact same time. Yeah, this wasn't some slow, gradual thing. It was an instant, overwhelming explosion of power. One second he's a regular teenager, the next his Viltrumite and Kryptonian powers just slam into him at once. He can feel two totally different ways of flying, the Viltrumite way of manipulating gravity and the Kryptonian bioelectric field, and they're suddenly working together in this perfect and, frankly, scary harmony. But having raw power is one thing. Actually mastering it is something else entirely. This version of Mark doesn't get to learn on the job fighting small-time villains. No, this Mark gets tossed into a literal trial by fire that completely forges him into something new. So when the Flaxans first invade, Mark gets pulled into their dimension. Now, in the original story, he's in and out in a few days. Here, he's stuck. For 3 whole years. 3 years in a dimension where time moves way faster, all under a red sun that's specifically designed to shut down his Kryptonian powers. And in those 3 years, he doesn't just survive, he absolutely conquers. He uses that Kryptonian super intellect to become a genius scientist. He pushes his Viltrumite body past every conceivable limit. And by digging deep into the Codex, he flips a switch on these dormant Kryptonian magi genes, unlocking a whole new level of power, actual magic. So when he finally gets back to Earth, he is not the same kid who left. He's a hardened veteran, and his power set makes the original Invincible look like a total amateur. So let's really dig into this, because his new arsenal is just insane. Okay, at the most basic level, he's a biological miracle. Think of it like this. His Viltrumite smart atoms act like superchargers for his Kryptonian cells. They help him soak up solar radiation way more efficiently and even adapt to weaknesses. So under a red sun, where a normal Kryptonian would be totally powerless, his Viltrumite side just kicks in and compensates, letting him keep a ton of his strength. But it goes way beyond just raw strength. During those 3 years, he trained his mind relentlessly. He mastered ancient Kryptonian martial arts, giving him insane mental discipline and a powerful defense against psychic attacks. And then there's the magic. He unlocked 4 different schools of elemental magic, giving him this incredible toolbox of abilities, from healing and teleportation all the way to straight-up mind control. And get this, if there's a power he wants but doesn't have, well, he'll either invent a way to get it, or he'll just take it. He reverse engineers Flaxan technology into a fluid suit that he controls with his mind, forming any weapon he can think of. He even develops tactile technopathy, so he can hack pretty much any tech just by touching it. And as we're about to find out, he's not afraid to get new powers by any means necessary. Okay, so all this power, it doesn't just change what he can do. It completely rewires who he is. And this is where we see the biggest, most drastic shift in Mark Grayson, where that line between hero and something else gets really, really blurry. And this quote right here says it all. These are his words spoken to Angstrom Levy, the guy who can travel the multiverse. That's not a hero's motto. That is the ice-cold justification of a conqueror. This is the moment you realize his moral compass has been shattered and rebuilt into something different.
See, he doesn't just beat Levy in a fight. Oh no, it's way colder than that. He captures him, puts him in a coma, and starts this horrifyingly clinical procedure. He builds a machine to literally rip the multiversal travel gene out of Levy's DNA and splice it into his own. He even intentionally puts himself through unimaginable pain to weaken his own body just enough so it will accept this new, stolen power. You see the difference, right? It is night and day. The original Invincible was idealistic, always reacting to threats and struggling with his own power. This guy? He is ruthlessly proactive and an absolute master of every single one of his abilities. He doesn't just stop threats, he eradicates them permanently, and then he studies them to see how he can get even stronger. And stealing Levy's power, oh, that was just him warming up. He starts kidnapping alternate versions of villains like Thrag to use as his personal lab rats, injecting them with serums made from his own blood to give them Kryptonian powers. Why? So he can fight and kill a newly superpowered Thrag just to analyze the data. His paranoia is so extreme that after every single fight, he uses magic to atomize every drop of his own blood on the battlefield just to make sure no one can ever clone him. So let's recap. He's got the power, he's got this cold, new mindset, and now he's got the ultimate key. With Angstrom-Levy's multiversal travel powers now a part of his own biology, Mark isn't just playing on Earth anymore. He's now a player on an infinite board. And you can see right here how his whole focus has just fractured. Sure, a part of him is still protecting Earth, another part is using his tech to build a massive business empire. But his main focus, the biggest piece of the pie, has totally shifted. Most of his time and energy is now poured into exploring and influencing other realities. He's not just on defense anymore, waiting for the next threat to show up. He is actively moving through the multiverse, collecting knowledge, technology, and even more DNA to add to his own plans and power. He's evolved past being a superhero. He's a cosmic force operating on a scale that is basically infinite. And that leaves us with the one big, terrifying question. You have a being with the power of both Krypton and Voltrum, the mind of a super genius, the skills of a powerful mage, and the cold, hard morality of a complete pragmatist. Is this the hero the universe desperately needs to stop threats like the Voltrumites for good? Or, in his endless quest for more power, has he accidentally become the single greatest threat the multiverse has ever seen?